Okay, so I've gotten a lot of questions about how I incubate my parrot eggs. Very simply, this is my kitchen table, and there's a good reason for that, and I'll show you in a little bit later. But first thing I have to do is insulate the incubator from the table. So I just use a towel. That keeps the heater from working too hard, and it helps protect the table. What I have here is basically a Tupperware type container with the aquarium heater in it. I took some playing around to get it close to the right temperature, but I figured it out and it's pretty close. So it goes on the towel. Then I take a second towel, and this one I use around the edges help hold some of the heat in on the side, just like that. So there's the setup. Okay, then I fill it with water, and a little more water. Okay, then of course I would plug it in, let it heat up. I'd put the lid on it, check the temperature, make sure everything's close. And when that's done, porcelain type bowl. Nothing special about it. I like the porcelain because it holds the heat, so when you pull the eggs out to candle them, they don't lose too much heat while they're sitting in there. So basically, put a paper towel. I slightly wetted it so it fits in there better. And I happen to have an egg. It's a cockatiel egg. And basically what I do is I mark it with a number 1, which I already did, number 2, number 3. 3 sides. Then I'll take it, and it goes in the crockery, and the whole schmear goes floating in the water. Okay, now the reason for the numbers, they have to be turned a minimum of 3 times a day. If you don't, the chick will stick to the side of the shell and it's bad. This setup provides ample humidity. If you have too much humidity, you can always put another bowl right here, and that'll block some of the surface area and you'll have less evaporation. When that's done, one of these simple thermometer humidity gauges, and this end is the sensor, and basically it just goes in there with the egg. Right? I usually end up putting it up on the little shelf here. Okay. So the whole works is just floating around. Then lid on, and cover it with another towel. And this is really labor intensive. You have to keep a constant eye on the temperature, the humidity. You have to turn eggs 3 times a day. If it gets too warm, you pull the towel back a bit. If it gets too cool, you pull it back on. Also, when you open, it's best to whatever side it's floating on, open it the opposite direction so you don't drip water on it, because you don't want the egg to get too heavy or too moist. And that's about it for the homemade one. Depending on the species, it takes 22 to 30 days to hatch. And I leave them in there after they hatch, and that's it. for that setup. The other one I have here is this bad boy. It's a Hova-Bator. Basically, it's made out of styrofoam. Small fan to circulate. You put the eggs on these racks. The center areas where you pour the water to keep the humidity up. There's a little motor here, turns the eggs automatically. Still, it's pretty much automatic. The thing I don't like about this one is you have to pull the baby chick out, the egg out before it hatches, so you have to keep a close eye on the candling. With this setup, I just leave the chick in there, and it just stays in there for 12 hours or so. Up here is a heating element, thermostat, really simple. There's the company that makes it. You increase the temperature here and here. And of course, you have your handy dandy temperature humidity sensor. With this setup, you would normally, when it's in the rack, you would set the sensor right on top of the eggs. The other thing I've noticed with this one is the eggs tend to develop from the top down, where with this setup, they seem to develop throughout the whole egg at once. I think it's because this one has a little temperature inversions. This one is the Hova-Bator is a lot less labor intensive than this one, but I truthfully have had better results with this. The other thing to be really conscious of is cleanliness. After every hatch, the Hova-Bator gets cleaned out. Every time I candle, I change the tissue paper in the crockery. After they hatch, it gets all changed out. Everything gets sterilized, put away, kept dry, and then I'm into hand raising baby chicks. So if you'd like to see that, check out my other videos. And that is my homemade and my Hova-Bator, and I have pretty good success doing it this way, but it takes a big commitment. Thank you for watching.